Hi, Neville Douglas here from Ashanti Dutch Property Letting. I just thought I'd share a quick 5-minute tip with you. Basically, I call it my top 10 tips. Okay, so I don't know if you are into property or you're looking to get into property. I'm a property investor. I buy deals for other property investors and trade deals for the property investors. At some point, even if you've got a big pot of cash, you are going to run out of funds, and so you might have to then either one, go through a building society, private investor, or a bit of both in regards to getting financed to buy whatever kind of property you're looking for. Currently, I trade in HMOs for investors, single lets, properties for refurbishment, and also I work within the charitable sector. So I work with housing associations, councils, things like that to house vulnerable people. Okay, so on that note, if you're trying to get investment from a building society or a bank or an intermediary or an angel, these are the things that I've found that will help. So I'm going to go through my top 10 tips and I'm going to show you on here what I'm going to be looking at. So you'll see that as well. So the first thing is to go to Experian, yeah? So you need to go online, it can be Experian, it can be Equifax. You've got a few down here as well, Total Money. Get hold of your credit file and find out what's on your credit file. One thing you don't want to be doing is applying for a mortgage and then they come back to you and say, okay, this is what we've seen on your credit file, there is an issue, and turn you away for a mortgage. Now, the list I'm showing you here is in no particular order, but these are things that I think you should consider doing. Second thing is create a Dropbox folder. Okay, so once you start getting all this information, you should put it into Dropbox. I don't recommend emailing it because emails aren't the safest. We all know that they can be hacked, and also that information is going to be out there, whereas Dropbox or Trezor, it depends which one you want to use, or any other sort of file storage system is a good way of sharing that information. It's encrypted end to end, and it saves emails being sent back and forth all the time. You can just put all the information into Dropbox. The receiving party then will know when you're updating the documents, so they won't be emailing you asking you when have you received the document, and then you're trying to figure out, is it version 1, is it version 2, is it version 3 or version 4. Find a good mortgage broker. Okay, so by the way, this is a disclaimer, I'm not giving you mortgage advice here, I'm not telling you what to do, where to invest in, so that's my disclaimer. Find a good mortgage broker, tell them what you're trying to do, and be completely honest and open with them. I've had people come back to me because they've been turned away because they haven't told the mortgage broker all of the information, where they're getting the funds from. Remember, anti-money laundering, so if you're doing it with your partner, you've got to prove where those funds have come from. Your mortgage broker will need to know this as well. So gather that information, be open with them. If you've got any blips on your credit file, talk to them. They will be able to help you to resolve those things. It's better to know and have an application up front where they know what has gone on in your financial history. Like a credit rating, it doesn't necessarily mean you won't get a mortgage. You might just get one with a higher interest rate, and then at some stage, once that is settled, you can always convert over to a lower interest rate mortgage. So be honest with them about that. Gather your bank details, I've put there, and I've talked about making sure that you deal with any issues on your credit file. Stop any unnecessary standing orders and direct debits. Decide on who your target tenants are going to be. Okay, so before you go for the mortgage, is it going to be DSS? Is it going to be working professionals? Is it going to be blue collar workers? Are you going to have a HMO? Are you going to have single lets? Are you going to be housing vulnerable? Because all that has a bearing on the funding and where you can get the funding from as well. SA32s are basically when it's a record from HMRC, and it basically lets you know, or they give you a certificate for the amount of tax that you're going to pay. Now, if you are self-employed, right, you're going to find that you may not, if you are submitting your accountant is submitting your accounts electronically, you will not get an SA32. Now, 302, sorry. Now, my lender has been asking me for these for the last 6 months, and the other day I did some searches on the internet, and I went to this website here, okay, and you will find that it talks about the SA32s and how to get them from HMRC.